Hello friends, myself Amit Sharma. Today I am making this video to discuss about complex numbers. So before starting, I will give small introduction about myself. I am what I am doing and why I am making this video. So I am doing job in BHEL, but I have hobby for teaching. So I have more than 5 years experience of teaching to JEE aspirants, and but first time I'm doing because of this scenario we are making the online video. So now coming to today's topic, today we are going to discuss about complex numbers. So I will brief you what all things will cover in this video. In this video, I will cover the geometry part of the complex number and the rotation of the complex number. I'll not go into the other things because for JEE point of view, this geometry part is most important. First, we'll discuss the theory part, then we'll do some problems from previous year JEE papers which have come from complex numbers. So, let us start. Usually, all of us know a complex number is denoted by z, which is x plus iota y. So, what is a complex number? Complex number is a number which is not real. What is a real number? All the numbers which we know are real number, like 1, 2, 3, all the numbers on the number line. All the numbers on the number line are the real numbers. They may be rational, irrational, integers, fractions, whatever. All numbers on the number line are real numbers. Complex numbers are the numbers which are made up of two things, two parts. One part is real part, another part is imaginary part, and both are added to represent the complex number. So usually it is denoted by z, which is x plus iota y, where x is the real part of the complex number, real part of z, real part of z, which z is a complex number. And what is y? Y is the imaginary part of z. So this x plus iota y makes the complex number. Now easily we can see, if y becomes 0, that is imaginary part becomes 0, complex number will become a real number, x. If x becomes 0, then it will become purely imaginary. Purely imaginary. If y was 0, it will become real, purely real. And if x is 0, it will become purely imaginary. This is imaginary, but this is purely imaginary, means there is no real part, only it has imaginary part, y. Now, this complex number z can also be written in Euler form. What is that Euler form? It is r e power iota theta. Now what is iota? Iota is under root of minus 1. All these things you know. So what is z? Z is r into e power iota theta. What is e power iota theta? E power iota theta is cos theta plus iota sin theta. It is Euler form. Z is r e power iota theta. Instead of Euler form, you can also be, sometimes we call it modulus amplitude form. Now we should know what is modulus and what is amplitude. Before that, complex number can be denoted by x plus iota y, and complex number can also be denoted by r into e power iota theta, where what is e power iota theta? Cos theta plus iota sin theta. So can we equate them? If we equate them, we will have x plus iota y is equal to r cos theta plus iota sin theta. Now, whenever two complex numbers are equal, then real part of first should be equal to real part of second, and imaginary part of first should be equal to imaginary part of second. Then only two complex numbers can be equal. So on the left hand side, what is the real part? Real part is x. On the right hand side, what is the real part? It is r cos theta. On the left hand side, what is imaginary part? Y. On the right hand side, what is imaginary part? R sin theta. So from this we get that if we are writing in Euler form, then x is r cos theta and y is r sin theta. So squaring and adding, we can get r is x square plus y square under root of that, because taking under root on both the sides, because sin square theta plus cos square theta is 1. So this is the relation between r, x and y, where r was in Euler form and x and y are in Cartesian form. X is real part and y is imaginary part. So r is under root of x square plus y square. But what is r? What is r? So to understand what is r, we will plot this complex number on the Argand plane. What is Argand plane? It is similar to Cartesian plane in 2D. It is similar to Cartesian plane in 2D. But in the Cartesian plane, one axis is x-axis and another axis was y-axis. In coordinate geometry, this axis is horizontal axis is x-axis and vertical axis was y-axis. But to plot the complex numbers, we need a Argand plane. We need a Argand plane. This Argand plane is in this horizontal axis represents the real axis. Real axis. That is, real part of the complex number can be plotted along this real axis. And this vertical axis is known as imaginary axis. Imaginary axis. So what we have to do, we have to plot a complex number on this Argand plane. Let us assume complex number is z, which is x plus iota y, which can also be written as r e power iota theta in the Euler form. Now, what is the real part of this complex number? Real part is x. Real part we have to plot along the real axis. So, along the real axis we have to move x points. Will come here. It is similar to plotting a point in the 2D coordinate system. What is the imaginary part? Imaginary part is y. So we have to move y units along the y-axis, that is in the vertical direction. So we'll reach somewhere here, which is x comma y, where this distance is x and this distance is y. So this point represents the complex number x plus iota y in the Argand plane. That means every complex number is a point in the Argand plane. Every complex number is a point in the Argand plane. So this is the point. Now, we are saying that it can also be written as r into e power iota theta, where r is the modulus of the complex number, modulus of complex number z, and theta is the amplitude or argument of z. Theta is amplitude or argument of z. Now we'll understand what is the meaning of modulus and what is the meaning of amplitude or argument of z. Let us join this complex number with origin. This complex number is a point. Let us join this point to origin. Origin is 0, 0, where real part is 0 and imaginary part is also 0. After joining this, the length of this line from z to origin represents the modulus of the complex number z. The length of this line represents the modulus of the complex number z, which is r in the Euler form, or we can call this r as modulus of complex number z. So this r is modulus of complex number z. Modulus means the distance of the point from origin. Distance of the point from origin. From 2D geometry we know this is x and this is y. It is a right angle triangle. Apply the Pythagoras theorem. Hypotenuse square is x square plus y square. That means r is equal to under root of x square plus y square. That only we derived in the before 5 minutes in the last. I have just rubbed it. What we had derived, r is under root of x square plus y square. What is r? It is magnitude of or modulus of z. That means if z is x plus iota y, then its modulus is under root of x square plus y square, which is also written as r. If r is the modulus, complex number can also be written as r into e power iota theta. Now what is this theta? Theta is the amplitude or argument of z. What is this? How to represent this? Represent this in the argand plane. It is the angle which the line joining z with origin makes with the positive direction of real axis. So this is the positive direction of real axis. The angle which the line joining point Z with origin makes with real axis, positive direction of real axis, is theta, where theta is the amplitude or argument of Z. So from again we can verify. We know it is a right angle triangle. This is R, this is X. So X will become R cos theta, R cos theta, and Y will become R sin theta, R sin theta. This already we have seen by comparing x plus iota y with this. From this argand plane also we can verify that x is R cos theta, y is R sin theta. Now we have seen what is modulus of a complex number. We have seen what is a argument of a complex number. Modulus of a complex number means the complex number is a point. So modulus of a complex number means distance of that point from the origin. Distance of that point from the origin. If in the complex number real part is x and imaginary part is y, then using Pythagoras theorem distance will become under root of x square plus y square, which is the modulus of the complex number. Now what is the amplitude or argument of z? Amplitude or argument of z is the angle which the line joining the point to the origin makes with the positive direction of real axis. This angle is known as theta. Now, what are the possible values of theta? If this point, let us say this is first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, fourth quadrant, similar to coordinate system. If point z is in first quadrant, then theta will vary from 0 to pi by 2. When it is in second quadrant, it will be between pi by 2 to pi. When it is in third quadrant, it should be from pi by 2 to 3 pi by 2, but it is not like that. What in the standard form, what we do, from here first and second quadrant, we measure it from 0 to pi. We measure it from 0 to pi. And in the third and fourth quadrant, we move like this and measure it from minus pi to 0. Minus pi to 0. That means if the complex number is in fourth quadrant and this angle is 45, then the amplitude of the complex number is minus 45. Minus 45. If point is here, then amplitude of the complex number is minus pi by 2. In the third and fourth quadrant, we measure it in negative 0, minus pi by 4, minus pi by 2, minus 3 pi by 4, minus pi. But it is never minus pi because here we have open interval. Why? Because for any point on the negative side of real axis, only one amplitude is required. Already we have pi. To define this point, we have pi. So we will not call it minus pi. For a point, only one angle is required. So we have called it, we have given pi. So we will not call it minus pi. Mentioning that theta is minus pi is not wrong, but it is not in standard form. In the standard form, whenever we have to write a complex number, the theta should belong to minus pi to pi, where minus pi is the open interval and plus pi is in closed interval. That means it can be plus pi, but it can never be minus pi, because plus pi will reach here, minus pi will reach here. With both we are reaching at the same place, same direction. So for one direction only one angle is required, so we have selected pi in the standard form. Calling it minus pi is also not wrong, but it is not as per the standard practice. It is not in standard form. So we say theta will vary from minus pi to pi in the principal values. Principal values of theta are from minus pi to pi. Now look at R. What is R? R is the magnitude or modulus of the complex number, which can never be negative, because what is the magnitude? Magnitude is the distance of the point from origin. Distance of point from origin can never be negative. Minimum it can be 0. If the point is at origin, minimum distance is 0. So we can say R is always greater than or equal to 0. What is R? Mod of Z. That is modulus or magnitude of Z, which can never be negative. So these things we have to remember. This is negative never possible, and this is in the principal range of theta. Writing theta in another form is also not wrong, but that is not standard. So now we have seen what is a complex number. In complex number we have a real part, we have an imaginary part. We have seen what is iota. Iota is under root of -1. What was the need to use complex number? Because we know inside under root negative is not allowed. Negative is not allowed. It has become, we cannot find a real solution for this. If we cannot find a real solution, we will find the imaginary solution, and that imaginary solution is iota. Under root of -1 is iota. So this is x plus iota y, which can also be written in Euler form, where r is modulus and theta is amplitude or argument of z. Right? So this is the basic about complex number. What is complex number, what is argument, and what is modulus. The modulus is never negative and argument is between minus pi to pi. Now we have seen what is complex number. Now we will come to algebra of complex number. Algebra of complex number. In algebra of complex number, we will see how to add two complex numbers. So first we will see addition of two complex numbers. Two complex numbers, let us select two. One is Z1, another is Z2. So we have to study the addition of two complex numbers. One we have taken Z1, another is Z2. Let us say Z1 is x1 plus iota y1 and Z2 is x2 plus iota y2. Now there are two ways we can add these. One is analytically, another is geometrically. Algebraically, how to do this? Z1 plus Z2. Whenever we have to add two complex numbers, we will add real part of first with the real part of second, plus imaginary part of first added to imaginary part of second. So Z1 plus Z2 will become x1 plus x2 plus iota common y1 plus y2. So this is the addition of two complex numbers Z1 and Z2. Real part added to real part, iota common, imaginary part added to imaginary part. So algebraically like this we can add two complex numbers. But can we do it geometrically? Yes, we can do it geometrically. How to do this? We know complex numbers are points in the Argand plane. We have drawn this Argand plane. This is real axis and this is imaginary axis. This is imaginary axis. In this Argand plane, we will plot Z1 and Z2. Z1 and Z2 are the points. Let us say this point is Z1 and this point is Z2. So let us join these points with origin. Let us join these points with origin. Now we have to add Z1 and Z2. This directed line segment from origin to Z1, point Z1 represents complex number Z1. Z1 plus Z2. This direction represents Z2. Now we can add them like vectors. We can add them like vectors. In vectors also what we used to do? We used to add projection along x-axis with projection along x-axis. Join projection along y-axis of second to projection of along y-axis of first, and similarly with z. So here also we are adding x real part together and imaginary part together. So like vectors you can add them. In vectors what we used to do, we used to add the tail of second to the head of first. Here also we can do that. We can call this as z2. Keeping the direction same and magnitude also same. Now we have started from origin. With z1 we reached here, with z2 we reached here. So finally where we went, we have reached here. So this line represents z1 plus z2. This line represents z1 plus z2, which is the diagonal of the parallelogram whose adjacent sides are z1 and z2. Now, if this point is z1, then let us name them O, A, B, C. If this point is z1, then what is the length of OZ1? OZ1 is nothing but OA. This point is A. So what is OA? OA is mod of Z1. Mod of Z1, distance of Z1 from origin is OA. Then what is this? This length is equal to this length, which is mod of Z2. Mod of Z2. It is mod of Z2. Parallel to that, it is also mod of Z2, and this is mod of Z1. So AB is mod of Z2. Now what is OB? OB is Z1 plus Z2. So distance OB is mod of Z1 plus Z2. OB is mod of Z1 plus Z2. OB is a distance. Distance means you have to take modulus. OB is mod of Z1 plus Z2. Now in the triangle OAB, we can say the sum of two sides is always greater than third side. It is a property of triangle that in any triangle the sum of two sides is always greater than the third side. So what we will have, OA plus AB, that is mod of Z1 plus mod of Z2 is always greater than mod of Z1 plus Z2. But they can be equal also. They will be equal when Z1 and Z2 are collinear. Z1 and Z2 are collinear. If this is the case, this is O, this is Z1 and this is Z2. This is OZ1, this is OZ2, then we'll get Z1 plus Z2. They will become equal. They will become equal. OZ1 plus OZ2 is nothing but Z1 plus Z2. So equality sign we will get when they are not in a triangle but it is a straight line. So this is the inequality which we have to remember, that addition of two complex modulus of two complex numbers taken separately is always greater than or equal to, first add them then take modulus, that is always less than this. And we can also extend it to, if the complex numbers are more than 2, then also we can extend it, we can apply this. So separately taking mod and adding is always greater than adding and then taking the modulus. So this is about addition of two complex numbers. We have added algebraically, then we have added in the Argand plane. So like vectors we can add complex numbers also. Now we have to see subtraction of two complex numbers. Subtraction. So Z1 minus Z2. Z1 is this, Z2 is this. Algebraically how to do this? Subtract real part from real part and subtract imaginary part from imaginary part. And geometrically how to do this? We know, like vectors, if this is Z1, take the opposite direction, we'll get minus Z2, because Z1 minus Z2 is nothing but Z1 plus inside bracket minus Z2. So it is similar to adding Z1 with minus Z2. If this is Z2, then take reverse direction, we'll get minus Z2. Now again, this is what? Z1. So here we can draw parallel to that Z1, right? Now this is minus Z2 plus Z1. We'll get this. This is nothing but Z1 minus Z2, because minus Z2 plus Z1 will get Z1 minus Z2, or minus Z1 plus Z2. So this distance is mod of Z1 minus Z2. Or this we can make it parallel. The another diagonal of the, this is Z2. So this is Z2. Another diagonal of the parallelogram will give us mod of Z1 minus Z2. Mod of Z1 minus Z2. It is also a parallelogram. Both lines are parallel. Opposite sides of the parallelogram. Z1 minus Z2. This is also Z1 minus Z2. So here also let us name this triangle as D and E. In triangle ODE, we can apply the property that any side is always less than the difference of the other two sides in the triangle. In any triangle, any side is always less than the difference of other two sides. So we can take OE. What is OE? Mod of Z1 minus Z2 is always less than the difference of other two sides. Other two sides are Z1 and Z2. So we'll get another inequality, which is mod of Z1 minus Z2 is always less than mod of Z1 minus mod of Z2. It will also become like addition. It will also become equal whenever Z1, Z2 and Z1 minus Z2 are collinear. That is, Z1 and Z2 have the same argument. If Z1 and Z2 have the same argument, they will become collinear and we will get the equality sign. Right. Now we have seen addition and subtraction. Now we will move to multiplication and division of two complex numbers. We will move to multiplication and division of two complex numbers, and then we will come to the geometry. Already we have seen the geometry, how to add complex numbers, how to plot a complex number, how to subtract complex number. All things we have seen geometrically. So now we will learn how to multiply complex numbers. Z1 into Z2. But always whenever we are multiplying complex numbers, it is advisable, it is better to write complex numbers in modulus argument form. It is not necessary, but it is better to write the complex number in modulus argument form. Why? Because if we are writing like this, Z1 is x plus iota y1, x1 plus iota y1, Z2 is x2 plus iota y2. Then multiplying them means Z1 into Z2 will become x1 plus iota y1 multiplied with x2 plus iota y2. Now we can, like algebraically, like simple, open the bracket and multiply. What is x1 x2? x1 x2 is x1 x2. Iota into iota is minus 1, because iota is under root of minus 1. So we will get minus y1 y2. It will become the real part. Then plus iota is common. x2 y1 plus x1 y2. This is the product of two complex numbers algebraically. But it is always not advisable to multiply like this. What we can do, we can write Z1 as R e power iota theta, R1 theta 1. Z2 as R2 e power iota theta 2, where R1 R2 are the modulus of Z1 and Z2, theta 1 and theta 2 are the arguments of Z1 and Z2. Already we know what is magnitude and what is argument. Argument is the angle it makes with positive real axis, and modulus is the distance of this point from origin. Then now multiplying is very easy. Multiply R1 with R2 e power iota. Whenever base is same, powers are added. In multiplication, whenever base is same, powers are added. So Z1 into Z2 will become R1 into R2 into e power iota theta 1 plus theta 2. It means what? It means whenever two complex numbers are multiplied, then the argument of the new complex number. Z1, Z2 is a new complex number. Z1 is a complex number. Z2 is a complex number. Z1 into Z2 will get a new complex number. Whenever two complex numbers are multiplied, the new argument is equal to the product of these two arguments and modulus. The modulus of the new complex number is equal to the product of these two modulus. And what about argument? Arguments are added. Arguments are added. We can see it geometrically. Let us say this is Z1 and this is Z2. This is Z1 and this is Z2. Now we are multiplying Z1 and Z2. After multiplying Z1 and Z2, new argument is R1 into R2. So this is R1, this is R2. So line will become, the length of the line will become R1 into R2. It will depend whether R1 is less than 1 or more than 1. R2 is less than 1 or more than 1. We'll get R1, R2 can be less than both R1, R2 can be greater than both also, depending on the values of R1 and R2. So let us say this is the length R1 into R2. The argument of Z1 is theta 1. Argument of Z2 is theta 2. Then new argument is, this new argument is theta 1 plus theta 2. So this point will represent Z1 into Z2. That means whenever we are multiplying one complex number with another complex number, modulus are multiplied and arguments are added. Arguments are added. But arguments are added is okay. But whenever we are writing the final answer, we should take care that we have to write this answer in principal value. That is from 0 to pi, minus pi to 0. If it is in another form, we have to write it in that form. Position answer will be correct, but we should bring it in principal form. So this is multiplication of two complex numbers. Now very quickly we can see division also. Whenever we are dividing, let us say Z1 and Z2 are same, then what will happen? R1 by R2, e power iota, base is same, in division powers are subtracted. So when in division the modulus are divided, and arguments are subtracted. Right? In division they are added, in multiplication they are added, in division they are subtracted. So Z1 by Z2 is R1 by R2 into e power iota theta 1 minus theta 2. Now we have to learn how to rotate a complex number. We have seen multiplication. Now using this multiplication we will learn how to rotate a complex number. Whenever we are talking about rotation, we have to rotate it about some fixed point. So this is real axis and this is imaginary axis. Let us say this, we have a complex number z. It is a complex number z. Now when we are multiplying this complex number with, let us say I, then what will happen? We will take one example, then we'll look for all multiplications. Whenever z is multiplied with I, then what will happen? I told you, whenever two complex numbers are multiplied, the new modulus is modulus of this into modulus of this. Modulus of this is mod of z. What is modulus of iota? It is 1. That means on multiplying a complex number with iota, magnitude will not change, modulus will not change. But what will happen to the argument? The argument of iota is, what is iota? Iota is nothing but e power iota pi by 2. It is a point on the positive direction of imaginary axis. So iota is e power iota pi by 2. Modulus is 1. R is 1. So 1 into e power iota pi by 2. So on multiplying, the pi by 2 will be added to the argument of z. When, let us say, argument of z is theta. Now add pi by 2 to this. Then it will be rotated by pi by 2. So this will become new. Z, let us call it Z1. where Z1 is Z into I. So whenever we are multiplying a complex number with iota, the new complex number will have the same magnitude, but it will rotate by an angle pi by 2 in the anti-clockwise direction, because rotation in the anti-clockwise direction is taken positive. We have assumed that rotation in the anti-clockwise direction is positive. So whenever we are adding pi by 2 means we have to move anti-clockwise. So the new argument will become argument of this plus pi by 2. Magnitude will remain same. So mod of this is equal to mod of this. Right? So multiplying any complex number with iota means rotating it about origin by an angle pi by 2 in the anti-clockwise direction. Now, if we are multiplying with any other complex number, let us say this is z, which is r e power iota theta. Okay, we are multiplying z with e power iota theta 1. Then what will happen? When two complex numbers are multiplied, new modulus is modulus of this into modulus of this. Modulus of this is 1 because this is cos theta plus iota sin theta, and modulus of this is 1 because cos square theta plus sin square theta is 1. Then modulus is same, but argument will change. What is the new argument? New argument will be addition of the two arguments, theta plus theta 1. That means it will rotate by an angle theta 1. It will come here. It is Z1. Z1 is this. What is the argument of this? Z1 can be written as, if this is R, it is also R. Modulus is same. And e power iota theta plus theta 1. New argument will be addition of both the arguments. So we have seen multiplying two complex numbers, argument will remain same if the argument of the complex number with which we are multiplying is 1. Otherwise, that magnitude or modulus will also change and argument will be added. So whenever we have to rotate a complex number, what we should do? We should multiply that complex number with e power iota theta if we want to rotate it by theta in the anti-clockwise direction. If we want to rotate it in the clockwise direction, we have to multiply with e power iota minus theta, because in the clockwise direction angle is negative. So minus theta. We have to rotate in the direction e power iota minus theta. Now we will see. So this is about rotation. Now we have seen algebra of complex numbers, rotation of complex numbers. For rotation we have to multiply with e power iota theta if we want to keep the modulus same. If we want to change the modulus also, then multiply with r into e power iota theta. Right? Now we will see what is the meaning of z1 minus z2. What is the meaning of this? Z1 minus Z2 is nothing but line segment joining Z1 and Z2. Z1 is a point, Z2 is a point. Z1 is a complex number, Z2 is a complex number. Z1 minus Z2 means line segment joining Z1 and Z2. So let us plot it in the Argand plane. Let us plot it in the Argand plane. Let us say this is Z1 and this is Z2. Then a line joining Z1 with Z2 is the Z1 minus Z2. Z1 minus Z2 means from Z2 we are going to Z1. So what we have to do, we have to subtract the final destination. From final destination we have to subtract the initial point. So it is Z1 minus Z2, this direction. Final point minus initial point. Final minus initial is line segment joining Z1 and Z2. If we are changing the direction, so final minus initial, Z2 minus Z1. Now this direction will become Z2 minus Z1. Let us write Z2 minus Z1. Now this line is Z2 minus Z1. from final minus initial. Now we know what is the meaning of Z2 minus Z1. Now we'll study what is the meaning of mod of Z2 minus Z1. Mod of Z2. We can write both Z1 minus Z2 or Z2 minus Z1, only direction will change. This magnitude will remain same. This magnitude means the distance between Z1 and Z2. This mod of Z2 minus Z1 means distance between the points Z1 and Z2. Distance between the points Z1 and Z2. Now, what is the meaning of this argument of Z2 minus Z1? Because we have taken Z2 minus Z1, or we are writing Z2 minus Z1 to keep the direction same. What is the meaning of argument of Z2 minus Z1? Argument of Z2 minus Z1 means argument which this line Z2 minus Z1 is making with the positive direction of x-axis. Because argument of any complex number is the angle which that complex number makes with the positive direction of real axis or x-axis. So argument of Z2 minus Z1 is the angle which this line Z2 minus Z1 makes with the positive direction of x-axis. To get the angle we have to extend it, or otherwise you can draw a line parallel to x-axis and here we'll get what is theta. Right, so this is the angle which this Z2 minus Z1 makes with the real axis, that is known as argument of Z2 minus Z1. So this is basic and most important point about geometry of complex numbers. Z2 minus Z1 means line joining Z2 and Z1, where Z2 is the initial point, Z1 is the initial point, in final minus initial. And mod of Z2 minus Z1 means distance between Z1 and Z2. Argument of Z2 minus Z1 means the angle which the line joining Z2 and Z1 makes with the positive direction of real axis or x-axis. Now, using this concept, we will write the equation of a circle. We will write the equation of a circle. How to write? We know a circle is a locus of a point which moves in such a way that its distance from a fixed point is always constant. In 2D, circle is in 2D. What is a circle? It is a locus of a point which moves in such a way that its distance from a fixed point is always constant. Let us say that fixed point is Z0. In the complex number, all the points are represented by complex number. Let us say this fixed complex number is Z0. This fixed point is Z0. Any point on the circumference which represents the locus is Z. And the distance is R. That fixed distance is R. Then we can write distance of Z from Z0 is equal to R. Then this is the equation of a circle, where Z will move all along the circumference. Z0 is fixed, which is the center. Z0 is the center of the circle, R is the radius of the circle, and mod of Z minus Z0 means the distance between center and any point on the circumference, which is radius. So it is equation of the circle whose center is at Z0 and radius is R. Radius is R. Now we'll see another equation of circle in another form. Not full circle but arc of the circle. Now we'll see the equation of a circle. Equation of segment of a circle. How to do this? Let us say we have argument of Z minus Z1 is equal to alpha. Argument of Z minus Z1 is equal to alpha. This already we have seen. It is the, we'll see what it represents. Let us draw the Argand plane. In the Argand plane, let us take a fixed point Z1. Z1 is a fixed point. Z is a moving point. Z is a moving point. We have to find the locus of Z. So Z minus Z1, final minus initial, it is final. So this, it will represent this direction, final minus initial. So argument of this line is fixed. Alpha is given as fixed angle. If argument of this line is fixed, that means draw line parallel to x-axis, this angle is fixed. If this angle is fixed, means z can move anywhere in this direction. That means it is a straight line. It is a straight line. That means this equation represents a straight line. Why? Because argument of z minus z1 is alpha. Argument of z minus z1 is alpha. This is z1 and this is z. Z minus z1 means this direction. From z1 to z. Z minus z1. This is alpha means all the points which are above z on this line, which has slope tan alpha. Angle with x-axis is alpha. That portion of that line is represented by this equation in the complex form. So it represents what it represents? It represents segment of line segment. Segment of a line. So this equation represents segment of a line. Why segment of a line? Because when we will come below z1, then z minus z1, let us say this is z minus z1 will be, angle will be this one. That is not alpha. Only this is alpha. So only upper part, it represents only the upper part, not the bottom part of this line. That means it represents only a segment of a line. So this is the equation of a segment of a line. Now we will see, we have seen both modulus of z minus z1 means distance between z minus z and z. That is this modulus of z1 minus z2 is distance between z1 and z2. Modulus of z minus z1 is constant means it is a circle. If argument of z minus z1 is alpha, then it is a line segment. It is a line segment. Now we will see the equation of perpendicular bisector of a line. Let us say we have a point z1 and we have another point z2. Let us join z1 and z2. Then, what is the definition of perpendicular bisector of a line? Perpendicular bisector of a line is a line in which moves in such a way that distance from every point to the 2 points is always constant. That is, एक ऐसी लाइन जो इस तरीके से मूव कर रही है जिस पॉइंट्स के सारे हर एक पॉइंट से जो पॉइंट z1 का डिस्टेंस है और जो पॉइंट z2 का डिस्टेंस है वो बराबर है. That means distance from any point on this line, distance of z1 and distance from z2 from any point on this line should be constant, should be equal. Then only it is a perpendicular bisector. Because of Pythagoras theorem. This is equal to this is common, so hypotenuse should also be same. So perpendicular bisector means locus of a point which moves in such a way that its distance from 2 end points of the line are equal. Locus of a point which moves in such a way that its distance from end points of the line is equal. So this is z1 and this is z2. We have to find locus of a point from which the distance of z1 and z2 is equal. Let us call that point as z. So distance of z from z1 should be equal to distance of z from z2. So this is the equation of perpendicular bisector of line joining the points joining z1 and z2. Joining z1 and z2. That is, distance of z from z1 should be equal to distance of z from z2. We can also write this as mod of z minus z1 upon z minus z2. Mod of this is 1. We have brought it on the left hand side, it will be divided. So modulus can be written separately or we can take total modulus also, both are same. So modulus of z minus z1 upon z minus z2 is 1. It is the same equation which is perpendicular bisector of the line joining the points z1 and z2. Now we'll see the equation of a segment of a circle. Now we'll see the equation of the segment of the circle. Now we'll come to then segment of circle. Let us write first write the equation, then we'll understand. Argument of z minus z1 upon z minus z2 is equal to, let us say, some angle alpha. Some angle alpha, fixed angle alpha. Now this equation represents segment of a circle. How? Let us draw the Argand plane. In the Argand plane, let us locate somewhere z1, somewhere let us locate z2. This is, let us say, z1 and this is z2. And we have to find the locus of z such that this angle is always alpha. So let us say this is z. Now what is the argument of z minus z1? Argument of z minus z1 is argument of this, that is this angle, which it makes with the positive direction of x-axis. This is argument of z minus z1. Let us call it theta 1. Now what is argument of z minus z2? Z minus z2 is the argument which this line makes with the positive direction of x-axis. Let us call it theta 2. Let us call it theta 2, because we know that argument of z1 upon z2 is equal to argument of z1 minus argument of z2. This we know. So using this, what is argument of z minus z1 upon z minus z2? It is argument of this numerator minus argument of denominator. So this will become, we can write alpha is argument of numerator, which is argument of z minus z1, which is theta 1 minus theta 2. So this is given to us. Alpha is theta 1 minus theta 2, which is a constant. Now from this figure we will find out what is theta 1 minus theta 2, which is constant alpha. Let us extend this. If this is theta 1 and this is theta 2, then this angle is also theta 1 minus theta 2. And vertically opposite angle, this is also theta 1 minus theta 2. Yes or no? It is theta 1 minus theta 2. It is also theta 1 minus theta 2, which is actually alpha. Theta 1 minus theta 2 is given as alpha. Why it is so? Because I will draw this again. We have z1, we have z2, we have z. This argument is, let us extend this. This is theta 1. Let us extend this. This is theta 2. Now extend this. We can say that also, in other ways we can say theta 1 is the exterior angle for the triangle this, and we know exterior angle is equal to sum of the interior opposite angles. That means if this is some phi, then what is phi plus theta 2? It is theta 1. That means theta 1 minus theta 2 is phi. But what is theta 1 minus theta 2? Alpha. So this is actually alpha, because exterior angle is equal to sum of interior opposite angles. Or otherwise we can extend it, and then also we can find it is theta 1 minus theta 2, because both are making with angles theta 1 and theta 2 with the same line, x-axis. So angle between them is theta 1 minus theta 2. So what we have understood, we have seen that this is given to us and we are trying to learn that this is the equation of a segment of a circle. Till now we have proved that this means the argument of this minus argument of this is constant. That means angle between these two lines is constant. This is a line, and angle between these two lines is constant. Z can move. That means we'll get a circle like this. Because we know in a circle, if we have 2 points z1 and z2 on the circumference, then anywhere you take z on the circumference, this angle is same. So this is the definition of a circle. It is a theorem. It is a theorem which says that angles in the same segment are equal. Angles in the same segment are equal. So this angle is always constant alpha. So anywhere it can move on the circumference, everywhere angle will be alpha. So it represents a segment of a circle. This equation represents segment of a circle where Z1 and Z2 are the points on the circle. Where Z1 and Z2 are the points on the circle and Z is the variable point on the circle. It is a locus. So it is a locus of a circle. Now, if this alpha is less than 90 degree, then it will become the equation of a major segment. Because in the major segment, alpha is less than pi by 2. In the minor segment, alpha is greater than pi by 2. If it is more than pi by 2, it will become the equation of minor segment. If it is less than pi by 2, it is major segment. Then if it is pi by 2, if this alpha is pi by 2, Z1 and Z2 will become endpoints of a diameter. And this will become equation of semicircle. Equation of semicircle. And Z1 and Z2 will become the endpoints of diameter and center will become Z1 plus Z2 by 2. Midpoint of Z1 and Z2. Section formula is also applicable in complex number. Like in coordinate geometry, section formula is also applicable. So midpoint is also applicable. Midpoint is Z1 plus Z2 by 2. Now we have seen equation of circle. We have seen equation of perpendicular bisector. We have seen arguments, modulus, everything. We have seen what is Z1 minus Z2, what is Z1 plus Z2, what is join of 2 points. Now we'll see the equation in another form. The equation of a line, the equation of a circle whose endpoints of diameter are Z1 and Z2. Whose endpoints of diameter are Z1 and Z2. Look, let us say we have this Argand plane. In this Argand plane, this is Z1 and this is Z2. Let us say these are the endpoints of diameter of a circle. Somewhere we'll have Z, which is a locus of a point which will move. So it is a semicircle. It is a semicircle. In this semicircle, anywhere we'll have Z. Can we join this to this and this to this? This angle is 90 degree because it is the semicircle. Angle in semicircle is 90 degree. Now what is this length? It is mod of Z minus Z1 or Z1 minus Z. Square of this plus what is this distance? Mod of Z2 minus Z. Square of this is equal to mod of Z1 minus Z2 square of this. So using Pythagoras theorem also we can write the equation of the circle whose endpoints of diameter are Z1 and Z2. Whose endpoints of diameter are Z1 and Z2. Now similarly, we can also write in another form. Just now we have seen argument of Z minus Z1 upon Z minus Z2 is equal to pi by 2. It is equation of a semicircle because angle is pi by 2. Just now we have seen this. Now argument of any complex number, argument of anything is pi by 2. Argument of anything is pi by 2 means that thing is purely imaginary. That thing is purely imaginary. If anything is purely imaginary means its real part is 0. Its real part is 0 means after taking the conjugate, we'll get the negative of that. That means if, or I am writing here, argument of z is pi by 2, then z plus z bar is 0. If this is the case, then z plus z bar is 0. So if argument is pi by 2, we'll write z minus z1 upon z minus z2 plus conjugate of this. Z minus z1 upon conjugate of z minus z2 is 0. So it is another form of equation of circle, semicircle whose endpoints of diameter are z1 and z2. We can cross multiply and denominator will become 0 after cross multiplying. Like this also you can write the equation of a circle. Now we will see the equation of circle in standard form. Equation of circle in standard form. Now I'll see the equation of circle in standard form. What is this? It is mod of z square plus alpha bar z plus alpha z bar plus d is equal to 0. It is the equation of circle in complex form. It is the standard form of the equation of circle in complex form. In this circle, if we have a circle, we should have some center, we should have some diameter or radius. Center of this circle is minus alpha. And radius of this circle is under root of mod of alpha square minus d. So this is center and this is radius. So that means it is this circle is a real circle only when mod of alpha square is greater than a or equal to d, because under root of negative is not defined. Otherwise it will become an imaginary circle where radius is a imaginary number. So this is the standard form where we what is center and what is radius we have seen. Now we have to see two more things we'll see, then we'll move to the problems. These two things are equation of circle in two other forms. First is Apollonius form. We need not go into the derivation of this, but we should know what is this. Z minus z1 upon z minus z2 modulus of this is equal to k. If this k is not equal to 1, then this is the equation of circle. Equation of circle whose end points of diameter are divided in the ratio k is to 1 internally and externally by z1 and z2. ये एक ऐसा सर्कल है जिसमें इक्वेशन ऑफ हुज एंड ऐसा सर्कल है जिसमें एंड पॉइंट्स ऑफ डायमीटर को एंड पॉइंट्स ऑफ जो डायमीटर है वो z1 एंड z2 के जॉइंट को k:1 में डिवाइड करते हैं. k:1 के रेशियो में इंटरनली और एक्सटर्नली डिवाइड करते हैं. ठीक है. सो नो नीड टू गो इनटू डेरिवेशन ऑफ दिस. ओनली वी हैव टू लर्न दैट whenever this is given and k is not 1, if k is 1 it is perpendicular bisector of a line. If k is not 1, then this is the equation of a circle whose endpoints of diameter are divided in the ratio of k is to 1 externally and internally by z1 and z2. And if we want to find the radius and the center of this circle, always what we can do, substitute z with x plus iota y. Z1 and Z2 will be given in the problem and then convert it to apply the formula for modulus, take square and convert it to the Cartesian form. We'll get the equation of circle in Cartesian form, then everything we can do. So always whenever you are not able to understand it is what equation in complex form, everywhere we can put z equal to x plus iota y, we can convert it to coordinate and then we can very easily see the equation in coordinate form. While doing this, what we have to use? We have to use that whenever in computing two complex numbers, that is whenever we are equating two complex numbers z1 and z2, whenever both are equal means real part should be equal to real part and imaginary part should be equal to imaginary part. Now last thing we will see what is how to write the equation of a circle if 3 points on the circle are given. One thing is we can use the coordinate geometry. Already we know in coordinate geometry 3 points are given. How to write the equation of circle in coordinate geometry? Same, it is also coordinate geometry. We have x coordinate, y coordinate. Here y coordinate is imaginary. That is a different thing, but circle will be same. Everything will be same. Otherwise, using complex numbers also we can do this. How? Let us say it is an Argand plane. We have 3 points z1, or start from here z1, z2 and this is z3. We have to find the equation of a circle which is passing through all z1, z2 and z3. Then how to do? let us say the locus of the point is z. Any complex number on this point is, on this circle is z. Then join this to this. Now this angle and this angle, they are angle in the same segment, both should be equal. This, let us say this is theta, then this is also theta. Then we can say that z2 minus z1. Look, now I will tell one important point which I think was missed earlier. In rotation of the complex numbers. In rotation of the complex numbers. So using this derivation, everything will be clear. Already I told you, whenever we are moving in the clockwise direction, it is negative. Whenever we are moving in the anti-clockwise direction, it is negative. Whenever we are multiplying a complex number with another complex number, argument will be added. Added means we'll move anti-clockwise. Now, what is z2 minus z1? This is this direction. It is z1 minus z2, final minus initial. What is z minus z2? This, from z2 to z, final minus initial. Now, let us take z minus z2, z minus z2, this direction. In the direction of this marker, this pointed arrow is this tail, it is head. Then this is z1, z minus z2. When we will move it by an angle theta, are we moving clockwise or anti-clockwise? This is anti-clockwise. This is anti-clockwise. That means to this, to get this, we have to add theta, because adding theta means moving anti-clockwise. That means we can write z minus z2 divided by mod of z minus z2. Because modulus we don't want to change, so on both the sides make the modulus 1. Z minus z2 upon modulus of z minus z2. Now modulus of this complex number has become 1. Argument of this, or don't take argument, this is equal to, or this is multiplied with e power iota theta. This complex number is multiplied with another complex number, then what will happen? It will rotate by an angle theta in the anti-clockwise direction. Then we will get this direction. This direction is z1 minus z2. So right hand side is z1 minus z2. Again divide by mod of z1 minus z2, because modulus on both the sides we want to take 1. Because we want to equate both. Equate both means both should be equal. So both places we are making them 1. So now we'll get this. So this we should understand. This is most important thing about rotation of complex numbers. Rotation of complex numbers. Initially we had seen only one complex number in the numerator, but here we have denominator also. Difference of two complex numbers. So what we are doing, this is movement anti-clockwise. So to move anti-clockwise we have to add theta. So in the previous one we are multiplying with e power iota theta, because on multiplying powers are added, amplitude is added. So we'll get this new position z1 minus z2. Modulus both the places we have made 1. Same thing we'll do with this z, z3, z1. So what is, we have to take anti-clockwise rotation from here to here. It is clockwise or anti-clockwise? It is also anti-clockwise. Then we'll write z minus z3 upon mod of z minus z3 into e power iota theta, because by same angle we have to rotate theta, both are theta, is equal to z1 minus z3 divided by mod of z1 minus z3. Yes or no? Then this is another equation. Now this is equation number 1. Equation number 2, we can divide them. On dividing them, what we will get? Before dividing them, let us take e power iota theta on one side and everything else on another side. We will bring e power iota theta on one side, everything else on another side. Then e power iota theta divided by e power iota theta will become 1. In division, powers are subtracted, so power will become 0. E power iota 0 is 1. So left hand side will become, I am multiplying, can simplify, it will become z minus z1 upon z1 minus z2 into, this is z minus z3, which will be in the denominator, z minus z3, z minus z1, z minus z2, z minus z1, z minus z1, something wrong I have written. So again we will do, let us simplify. Equation number 1, e power iota theta is z1 minus z2 upon mod of z1 minus z2 into mod of z minus z1, z minus z2 divided by z minus z2. It is equation number 1. Equation number 2 is e power iota theta is z1 minus z3 into mod of z minus z3 divided by z minus z3 into mod of z1 minus z3. Now we will divide them. On dividing by 1 by 2, we will get 1 is equal to z1 minus z2 into mod of z minus z2 into, this denominator will go to the numerator, z minus z3, this will go to the mod of z1 minus z3, this is divided by, here we have mod of z1 minus z2, here we have z minus z2, then this is z1 minus z3, and this is mod of z minus z3. We'll get this. Now this is 1. This is 1 means we can cross multiply and simplify. So like this also we can write the equation of a circle in, if 3 points are given. We can cancel the points which are in both numerator and denominator, like z minus z3 and z minus z3. Some things will be cancelled and we'll get the equation of circle in terms of z1, z2 and z3. It is not important, it is only simple algebra, but what is important is you should know how to rotate a complex number. Before rotation, we have made modulus 1 on both the sides, and multiplying with e power iota theta means it will move anti-clockwise by an angle theta. So final is this, initial is this we want to move in anti-clockwise direction. So with this you will multiply e power iota theta, we will get this. Now divide and simplify, we will get the equation of circle in terms of z1, z2 and z3. So it is a circle passing through the points z1, z2 and z3. Now we'll do some problems from latest year's IIT JEE papers which have come from the chapter complex numbers. So let us start with question number 1. क्वेश्चन ब्लैक बोर्ड पे मैंने लिख दिया है, ये IIT एडवांस 2016 में आया था. इस प्रॉब्लम में हमें दिया गया है फॉर एनी इंटीजर k, alpha k is defined as cos k pi by 7 plus iota sin k pi by 7. So it is e power iota k pi by 7, where k is a integer, and we have to find the value for summation k is from 1 to 12 mod of alpha k plus 1 minus alpha k divided by summation k is from 1 to 3 mod of alpha 4k minus 1 minus alpha 4k minus 2. So initially if you will look at this problem will look difficult, because if you will put some formulas for modulus of a complex number, if you will expand this, then it will become complicated. But actually this is a very easy problem. Why so? It is because look at alpha k. Alpha k is cos k pi by 7 plus iota sin k pi by 7, which is nothing but 7th root of unity. So alpha k is the 7th root of unity, because when we will vary k is an integer, when we will vary k, we will get different 7th roots of unity. We will get different values for 7th root of unity. And we know that nth root of unity are in They are the arguments of nth roots of unity are in AP, and they make a regular polygon. If we will plot them, they will make a regular polygon. So 7 root means this 360 will be divided in 7 parts. So first will be 0. K can be put 0. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Somewhere 7 parts it will be divided. For everything, modulus is 1. For every alpha, modulus is 1. So they are the points on a circle with center at origin and radius equal to 1. This already we know. That nth root of unity lie on a circle whose radius is 1 and center is at origin. And they make a regular polygon. And if it is 7th root means the number of sides of the polygon are 7 and it is a regular polygon. Now what they are asking is, it is an integer answer type problem. So whatever answer we will get, we'll get an integer. Now k is from 1 to 12. Alpha k plus 1 minus alpha k. Alpha k plus 1 is a root of 7th root of unity. Alpha k is the 7th root of unity. They are two adjacent roots. If this is k plus 1, this is k. If this is k plus 1, this is k. If this is k plus 1, this is k. So it is nothing but, what is the mod of z1 minus z2? Just now we have seen mod of z1 minus z2 is the distance between z1 and z2. So here also mod of alpha k plus 1 minus alpha k is the distance between alpha k plus 1 and alpha k. So this is the distance. This distance, this distance, this, everywhere it is same. Everywhere distance is same because it makes a regular polygon. Now, how many times you have to take this? Let us say this distance is A. Then how many times you have to take this distance? 12 times. So numerator will become 12A. Divided by denominator is also same. Put k equal to 1, we'll have 4 alpha 3 minus alpha 2. Put k equal to 2, we'll have alpha 7 minus alpha 6. So they are also distance between two adjacent roots of 7th root of unity. So it is also A. How many times? 3 times of A. So answer is 4. Answer is 4. So it is a very easy problem. We just need to know that nth root of unity lie on a circle of unit radius and they make a regular polygon. Regular polygon means all the sides are equal. All the sides are equal means the difference of the adjacent complex number, modulus of that is same. That is equal to length of the polygon, length of the side of the polygon. Here because side of the polygon is divided, cancelled, we need not find what is the side. We will get the answer 4. Now we'll move to the next problem. Now next problem IIT Advanced 2013 का है. ये ब्लैकबोर्ड पे मैंने लिख दिया है. इसमें दिया गया है W is root 3 plus iota by 2. P is defined as W power n, where n is a integer greater than 1, natural number. And H1 is given as, it is a complex number, C is a complex number, whose real part is greater than 1 by 2. H2 is given as a complex number whose real part is less than minus 1 by 2. And Z1 is defined as, it is intersection of P and H1. P and H1. Z2 is defined as intersection of P and H2. P and H2. And O is the origin. O is the origin. We have to find the angle Z1O Z2. We have to find the angle Z1O Z2. Options are pi by 2, pi by 6, 2 pi by 3 and 5 pi by 6. So it is a multiple choice problem in which one or more than one can be correct. It is a problem in which more than one can be correct. So we'll find out how many solutions it will have. Now to do this problem, we only need to plot these points in the Argand plane. Plotting these points on the Argand plane will get the answer. There is no need to do any calculation. How? We will start. We'll start plotting these points in the Argand plane. What is W? W is, can we write this in Euler form? Why we are writing this in Euler form? Because we have to take power n. Taking power n is easy because of de Moivre's theorem. Powers will come to the angle. So what is W? Modulus of W is 1. 3 by 4 plus 1 by 4 is 1. In the Euler form, it will become R into e power iota theta. R is 1. What is theta? Cos theta is root 3 by 2. That means theta is pi by 6. Theta is pi by 6. So W is e power iota pi by 6. Then what is P? P is e power iota n pi by 6. Where n can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. Now, when n is 1, when n is 0, for all these points, they lie on a circle, unit circle, whose center is at origin. Let us draw that circle. In this circle, we have to plot points P, whose arguments are n pi by 6. When n is 1, we'll get pi by 6 as argument. Somewhere here, this angle is pi by 6. Then, when n is 2, we'll get 2 pi by 6, which is pi by 3. When n is 3, we'll get pi by 2. N is 4, n is 5, n is 6, n is 7, n is 8, n is 9, n is 10, n is 11. Then n is 11, n is 12. Yes or no? 30, 30, 30. So 3 divisions. So these are the 3 divisions in every argument, in every quadrant. So these are the points P in the Argand plane, where arguments are multiples of pi by 6, right? Now, what is H1? H1 is the points whose real part is greater than 1 by 2. So cos 60 is 1 by 2. This point represents real part 1 by 2. This is 1 by 2. So draw a line here. Everything on the right hand side will represent H1, because on the right hand side real part is more than 1 by 2. On the left hand side, this is minus 1 by 2. So argument less than minus 1 by 2 is H2. So everything on the left hand side is H2. Now we have to find Z1, which is intersection of P and H1. That means H1 is total region on the right hand side of this, and P1 is these 3 points, excluding this, because n cannot be 0. But again, we'll come at this point when n is 12. We'll get 2 pi. So at 2 pi, we'll get this point. So P in P we have these 3 points, and in H1 everything on the right hand side of this line is H1. So what is the intersection? Intersection is which is in both. So these 3 points are in intersection. Now come to Z2. Z2 is P intersection H2. H2 is everything on the left hand side of this, where real part is less than minus 1 by 2. And what is P? P have 3 points, 1, 2 and 3. So what is intersection? These 3 points are intersection. Now we have to take 1 point from this and 1 point from this. Third point is origin, and we have to find the angle. So first possibility is this. So what is this angle? This total is pi by 2. This is pi by 6, pi by 6. Pi by 2 minus pi by 3, which is 2 pi by 3. So this is 2 pi by 3. So 2 pi by 3 can be the answer. Another possibility is this, which is pi minus pi by 6, which is 5 pi by 6. So 5 pi by 6 can be the answer. But answer can never be less than pi by 2. Why? Because minimum angle is this, which is itself 2 pi by 3. So less than that not possible, because you cannot come in this region. So there are only 2 answers, 2 pi by 3 and 5 pi by 6. So this is the solution. So whenever a problem from geometry is given in complex number, first thing we have to do is we have to plot the given information in the Argand plane. Plotting this information, try to find out what is asked, and looking at the figure we can very easily find out whatever is asked. So main point is plotting these points in the Argand plane. So now we'll move to the next problem. Now next problem is from IIT 2005. In this we have been given a circle whose center is at 1 and radius equal to root 2. So 1 is the real number, it will be on the real axis, it is 1, 0. radius is root 2. So draw a circle with radius root 2 like this. Now draw a circle with radius root 2 like this. Now make a square like this. So it is a square. Now two diagonals of a square are this and this, right? One vertex is given, that is 2 comma root 3. We have to find the other vertices of the triangle. We have to find the other vertices of the of the square. We have to find the other vertices of the square. We know diagonals bisect each other. So this is the midpoint, center, and this is diameter of circle also. So this vertex will become 2 plus x by 2 is 1. So this is 0. And this is root 3. So it should be minus root 3 because midpoint is 1 comma 0. So second vertex is this. No problem in finding the second vertex. Now to find the other two vertices, we know this angle is 90 degree because in a square and rhombus the diagonals intersect at 90 degree. Then these both are equal to radius of the circle, both are equal. We have to rotate this complex number, this minus this, by an angle 90 degree, then we will get this complex number. Let us say this complex number is z. Then what we can write, z minus 1 is equal to this one. What is this? 2 minus 1, which is 1, plus root 3 iota. We have to multiply this with iota because we have to rotate it by an angle pi by 2. Then z will become iota minus root 3 plus 1 and plus iota. That means one vertex will become 1 minus root 3 comma 1. So this is one vertex, it is second vertex. Now third vertex, how to find? Midpoint is again 1 comma 0. So using this midpoint formula, again we can find the third vertex. So it is also very easy problem. Only thing, basic things we need to know, that diagonals of a square intersect at 90 degree. All of us know this, and we should know how to rotate a complex number by an angle 90 degree. We have to multiply with iota. Now we'll move to the next problem. नेक्स्ट प्रॉब्लम IIT 2008 में आया था. ये बहुत इजी प्रॉब्लम है. इसमें हमें दिया गया एक पार्टिकल P है जो कि एक इनिशियल पॉइंट से स्टार्ट हुआ. पहले वो हॉरिजॉन्टली मूव हुआ अवे फ्रॉम ओरिजिन बाय 5 यूनिट्स. देन वो वर्टिकली मूव हुआ अवे फ्रॉम ओरिजिन बाय 3 यूनिट्स. देन वो I plus j के डायरेक्शन में मूव हुआ √2 यूनिट्स के बराबर. Then it rotates by an angle pi by 2 anti-clockwise because it is positive pi by 2 about origin. We have to find the final position, new position of the point. Then let us start from the initial point. Initially it is at 1 comma 2. X is 1 and y is 2. Then it moves horizontally by 5 units away from origin. Then coordinates will become 1 plus 5, which is 6 comma 2. Then it moves 3 units away from origin. So x will not change, y will become 5, 6 comma 5. Then it moves in the direction of I plus j. What is direction of I plus j? It is the direction of angle pi by 4 because x plus y, I plus j. So it is angle pi by 4 like this, x equal to y. It is moves in the direction of pi by 4 by √2 units. If it is moving by √2 units in the direction pi by 4, then this is 1 and this is also 1. Then new coordinates will become 7 comma 6. Add 1 to both. After this, it rotates by an angle pi by 2 about origin. Then we have to find the new position. Then to rotate any complex number by pi by 2 in anti-clockwise direction, what to do? Multiply that complex number with iota. So it is 7 plus 6 iota, multiply this with iota. It will become minus 6 plus 7 iota. So new position is minus 6 plus 7 iota or minus 6 comma 7. So this is the answer. Only thing we have to do, same concept, we should know how to rotate a complex number. So problems from complex number are very easy. We should only know the basic points about the complex number. Then most of the or all of the problems from complex number we can do. Now we will move to the next problem. Next problem IIT 2007 में आया था. इसमें हमें दिया गया है a particle moves from origin by 3 units in the direction of northeast. So this direction is north, this is east, this is west, this is south. it moves in the direction of northeast by 3 units, then it moves in the direction of northwest by 4 units. So figure I have drawn. Now we have to find what is the final position of the point. How to do this? We know it moves in the direction of northeast, means this angle is pi by 4. Then it moves in the direction of northwest, then that means with the vertical direction is pi by 4. With horizontal also it is pi by 4. That means this angle is pi by 2. Because angle between x and y is pi by 2 and they both are making same angle with x and y respectively. Then angle between them is pi by 4. Then we can use the concept of rotation of complex numbers. Let us say this final complex number is z. If this final complex number is z, then what we will have, what is this point? This point is, argument is 3, sorry, modulus is 3. What is the argument? Argument is pi by 4. So this is 3 into e power iota pi by 4, r into e power iota theta. What is this complex number? It is origin, O. So look at this rotation. We can rotate this complex number clockwise, or we can rotate this complex number anti-clockwise about this point. Then what we can write? We can write that z minus 3 into e power iota pi by 4. This we have to rotate anti-clockwise. So this will become equal to 0 minus this. 0 minus 3 e power iota pi by 4. Because order we have to keep same. Final minus initial, final minus initial. So 0 minus 3 e power iota pi by 4 into this will move clockwise. So here we have to multiply with iota. Because this will be moved anti-clockwise. So with this we will multiply iota. But modulus is different on both the sides. So we have to divide with the modulus. What is the modulus of this? 4. What is the modulus of this? 3. Now both the sides modulus are 1. Now we can equate this. So cancel 3 with 3. Then we will have iota z. Iota z is equal to we'll have minus 4 e power iota pi by 4, and this is plus 3i e power iota pi by 4. We can take iota to the right hand side. It will become minus iota. So it will become plus, it will become minus iota square. So iota square is again minus 1, which will make it plus. So we'll have z is equal to 3, or take e power iota pi by 4 common. We'll have 3 plus 4i. So this is the answer. This is the new position of the point z. E power iota pi by 4 into 3 plus 4i. So this is a problem which came in IIT 2007. So we have seen all the problems are very easy if you know the basic concept. So now here we'll stop for today's video. Next video we'll meet again with some new problems. Thank you.